order, the time being 6:01. Steve's going to do roll call, but he's out for just a second.
Can do it here.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Karsten Flake,
Here.
Mr. Larson, here. Mrs. Robertson's absent. Mr. Bushman,
Here.
and Mr. Dayton Flake.
6:01.
Mr. Fields here.
Thank you. Steve's going to do roll call, but he's out for just a second.
Can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Karsten Flake.
Here.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have a invocation. Do we have a volunteer for the invocation?
I'll do it.
Okay. Okay.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
Members of the community and the stakeholders of the Joseph City School District. We're grateful for the
Liberty and justice for all.
teachers and the staff and our school board make to make this a great possibility.
Volunteer for the invocation?
I'll do it.
Okay. Okay.
I
Pledge allegiance to
we pray for the members that reside in our school board this evening.
and to the republic.
Be happy and healthy. Loving us, we pray in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you, Dan. I motion that we approve
Teachers
the
and staff
minutes.
and our school board make
I motion that we adopt the agenda as it is for tonight.
I'll second it.
Okay. Do we need to discuss or move anything? Okay. Call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Eldon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. I motion that we.
That's me.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the October 13th, 2020 regular board meeting.
I think we're now call for the vote. Call for the vote.
Okay,
Dayton?
call for the vote.
Yes.
Myself.
Andrew?
Yes.
Eldon?
Yes.
Andrew? Myself, yes.
Dayton? Yes.
I motion that we.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of
Okay.
the October 20th. Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the October 13th, 2020 regular board meeting.
Okay, call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Eldon?
Yep.
Myself, yes. Okay, we have a NAVIT report. Matt?
Yes, we'll turn the time directly over to him because he has another engagement tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian. Karsten, appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight.
2020
as
regular.
I told you in the past, I enjoy coming back, and so I always like to make sure we keep it brief. I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, Matt's back. We're going to be here forever. First of all, just want to do a shout out for all the people we work with. It really is a pleasure to work with Brian. Eric, thank you so much, Julie, Brian. It's just fantastic. Karsten, appreciate great people to work with here. Joseph City Schools has been a phenomenal partner, and we appreciate working with each of you. I just want to let you know Matt Click has been serving you the past couple of years, and starting January 1st, J.C. Hansen will be representing your board on our governing board, so we appreciate his willingness to help. Just want to remind you that Holbrook, Joseph City, and Winslow joined all at the same time, but the most important thing to remember tonight is why are we here? What's our purpose? And the first reason is that additional funding that we bring into your high school for your career and technical education programs. And the second is for those students that it works for to provide some additional career and technical education programs. And so we'll look at those. Holbrook, Joseph City, and Winslow joined all at the same time. Other ways the most important bring in funding into your district, bring in $12,000 towards your career technician salary. We help with.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Julie Randall. Cliff.
Oh, yes, and she introduced me to her husband. That's going to be a hard habit for me to break.
It is for everyone here.
He does a great job. He's good.
In fact, correct if I'm wrong, Brian, but I'm pretty sure she's been the career tech since Linda Miller, and it's been a long time since Linda's worked for the district. So it's been a while. But we appreciate working with her. But yeah, thank you for that. So we do pay $12,000 towards her salary. We help with certifying your students, and in fact, Dustin Fish just spent here a couple of weeks ago, spent a couple of days with us. He became NCCR certified, so it'll be both Jim Stradling and Dustin that'll be certifying your students in NCCR. So appreciate their hard work. And then we also pay, it's about $1,000 for Joseph City teachers to be a member of the Arizona Curriculum Consortium. And it's basically a cache of turnkey lesson plans. Got everything from PowerPoints. They're all crosswalked with Arizona state standards and current technical education. So we pay the fee for your district to be a member of that. So once again, we're here to provide you a funding stream that generates about $900 of M&O. So let's take a look at just the longitudinal reimbursement. So notice starting in FY3, $127,000. Notice there's a big drop from FY11 down to FY12. That's when we lost the freshman funding. Just a reminder there. And so then you've been right in around the 35 to 45,000 range.
That
Generates about $900.
The state legislature did a law or an adjustment that created the funding for the freshmen.
Yeah. And so without that freshman money, that made a huge difference. And I get asked all the time, Matt, are we going to get freshman money back? We're never going to get all of it back at once, but we are certainly, it's on our legislative priorities this year to try and get capture fourth year funding in 4 areas that the Arizona Commerce
The
Authority
funding for the freshmen.
have identified, and that's automotive, ag, construction. That made a huge difference. Engineering and robotics. And I get asked all the time, Matt, are we going to get freshman money back? We're never going to get all of it back at once, but we're emphasizing that the legislature approved this next round. We almost got it through this last session. Capture fourth year behind us to approve that. And then, of course, COVID happened, and the rest is history. But nothing happened. None of our priorities got through this past year. But just know that you're holding steady for this for FY21. It's looking about to be about the same amount, 43,000 range, because that can vary based upon your population of students. But since you've joined us, then you're just under 1.4 million, and so we're excited to be able to bring that into your schools. And so, where is that 43,000 spent? It's in your current tech ed programs, and so we're excited to see you expand your programs. I mean, that takes leadership. It's a lot of hard work. It's hard work to find teachers, and for you to even lure some of your own graduates. I mean, I've had a big smile ever since I found out about Dustin coming home, because those are the kind of people that'll stick around. It's hard to lure people to rural areas, and so I'm excited to see you, because this last year you were basically, it was basically Mr. Stradling that carried most of the load there. So we're excited to see Mr. Hancock come over from Winslow and offer business. So we're excited about that.
So it helps with their salaries and like supplies for the classroom and stuff.
So that's where that money goes, is right there right into your programs. This is the list of the programs that we have at the community college. Some are in Winslow, some are in Holbrook, but they do have access to those 5, and we appreciate the students that are able to participate, and it's not for everyone. The reality is most of the current technical education is right here at the high school, because not everyone can take 3 hours off of high school. You have to really plan ahead to do that, but it's there and available to those students who would like it. And then I just wanted to finish up by just reminding you that we do have $301 that we share with your teachers, depending upon what things they can participate in. If they have professional development opportunities in current tech ed, we pay for the registration and fees associated with that. For those who want to work on new lesson plans, work on curriculum development, we pay $25 an hour, up to 80 hours a year. So that's a big boon for your teachers if they're interested. And then we also pay $500 stipend for those who say do like a Skills USA advisor. For those types of things, we'll pay a stipend. So basically, you've got that 43,000 estimated that's coming in this year, as Brian explained. That goes into help salary, equipment, supplies, and then they also have access to the $301. So I don't advertise this to my larger schools, but because of the nature of a 1A district and that $12,000 that comes in, you actually get more money than you generate back. But I don't tell all the 3A schools that, but we're excited to be able to do that for our 1A schools. because you deserve it. It's tough. It's tough to always make ends meet, and so we're excited to be able to provide that for you. So once again, we're here to provide that funding stream for you, provide the extra programs, and it really is a pleasure to work with your employees here. Like I say, your teachers are engaged, they're excited. If I were a high school student, I would love to come to Joe City High School. Teachers are interested in their students, and CTE is where the excitement is. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions?
I'll start off, not with a question, but just with a couple things. That Matt, he's been the superintendent at NAVIC going on better part of 15 or more years, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while, so he definitely knows his stuff, and he's been great for us to work with. It's been a benefit for our students. He personally teaches this NCCER curriculum, and the last teacher I talked to that we sent, and it wasn't this year, wasn't our teacher this year, said that he does a phenomenal job with that. I had never told you that, but they
I
really
appreciate that.
complimented whatever you're doing there with that training. So I appreciate that. And then we've made some huge improvements under the leadership of Mr. Miller and Dan Bushman with our CTE programs. You can see that addition of business, ag, a lot of work behind the scenes to get those things set up and going. And I just wanted to recognize them real quick. If you have questions about finances, this would be a good time, or basically anything with NAVIT, and nothing's off the table if you don't know an acronym that we're sharing or whatever, even what CTE means.
Yeah, CTE,
Great
Career
time.
and Technical Education. I know Karsten knows what that means. But yes, I get carried away with my acronyms sometimes.
Thank you for what you do. You have been there a while, and you are easy to work with. We have questions at board things or whatever else. Anytime I've tried to get a hold of you or try to get information, you've been very good at that, trying to help us. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate being here, and again, thank you for letting me go first so I can present to Holbrook also tonight. It means a lot.
Thank
Be safe. Thank you.
And I believe you got to pass it on to.
Now I think we're at the superintendent report. So
Okay, and so you might notice there's fewer written reports listed on the agenda, and that's a result of the training. We'll try it this way this month. You guys, if we don't like something, just let me know, and we'll try to adjust. The intention of these items is to keep a meeting moving well, and to only have call the public or just open discussion on agenda items. I think you all understand that. So that's what this is about. But I'll try and address anything directly that you have. But of course, our principals are here to answer questions if you want to ask them. But we should try and keep this as formal as possible and stuff. So if we move on to my report, there's several items that I would like to talk about. And some of the items are also agenda items. So if you want to get into further discussion when we do that would be fine as well. Like we do have a test calendar attached to to my report. So what this is just a calendar that it would have been maybe nice to have last year when we went through all this, because it got a little confusing. But the way it's organized now through our software that we have, it's called Infinite Campus, breaks down the required hours and how many hours we have under this model. So, Steve, do you mind giving? And I printed you out at the request of Mr. Larson. Good idea. This year's calendar, so you can have it as a reference throughout the meeting. But the test calendar, my hard copies disappeared, but it's attached to our. It basically just shows the required hours. It's on the packet here, so if you want to look at that and see if there's any questions or whatever about that. See if I can. Can you put it up there by chance or no? We're not hooked up for that. So if you look at it, it has blue and red at the top. Looks like that. That's what we're calling it, a test calendar. I'd like to try and have the calendar set by January for next year if possible. If it doesn't look like that would be smart because of COVID or unknowns, then we can push it back. But it helps with the scheduling and all those things. So this particular calendar might catch your eye because it increases the instructional days from where it is currently. I'm not saying that's my recommendation at this point, but if we wanted to be in compliance with a little bit of room, this is a good target. Anyway, that's what that is. And I
How
can,
many projected days?
there's no, yeah, on this one, it's 154, but that includes those half days, but not the enrichment days. Okay.
What's our requirement?
And we're at 140.
It's different at different grade levels, but it's,
It's over on the right-hand side. If you look down at the bottom, it tells you like total minutes, total hours, minimum hours. So for example, 9 through 12, it says total hours 1,088.75, and then required is 720.
I wish it was less complex, but that's why it's different for different levels. And when you're small, they do that in the valley or wherever they have, schools that are just a 1-3 school or a K-3 school. But for us, it affects everything, like with busing, and we can't have separate schedules for everybody easily.
How much are we, or do we know, have we calculated this year? Are we over?
For
Enough.
bare minimum, that was how we set it, as far as our set calendar.
Yeah. So if we took this year's calendar, for example, and added 5 minutes to the school day, that would up our cushion, correct? I mean, that's an option that we have. Instead of adding days, we could add 5 minutes a day or something like that. Okay.
I'm not seeing where you have the first day of school.
It's the second,
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
Then getting out.
So that's basically you're starting school a week earlier than we were going to start this year.
One of the things in the calendar that we adopted for this school year was to make the summer longer. That's why they wanted to start early, because there was no guarantee on days for the next school year. I remember that. And the last day would be the 26th.
Yeah, that's what it was, before Memorial Day. Yeah. It didn't include any enrichment days. We can't calculate those as instructional days, but we can do the half days for like parent-teacher conferences. Those are included.
So we started on the 10th. We started on the 10th, and we're ending on the 20th this year. So we're actually adding a week at the beginning and at the end,
Both sides.
both sides.
More school. This isn't my recommendation. This is an example to show you the minutes, how it lines up. So when we have the discussion next month or whenever you want, we can see, hey, this will get us here. This will meet these, because it's a formula. We'll just plug it in.
And this is the same hours per day that we are this year, correct? The day, we're leaving the days exactly the
We
same.
could adjust that. It makes it a little more complex, but I can have a person here at the meeting, and we can plug it in and see what the differences are, if we want to do this calendar or that calendar. So this is a test calendar. But it shows what a good cushion would look like, so.
One of the concerns some people had is lowering the number of days And would teachers be able to get everything in and whatever? We can't really gauge that yet
Tough this year.
until closer towards the end of the year to gauge that. So that would be hard. We're not going to get the input of, did lowering the days hurt anything?
You can look at instructional data, assessment data. The principals would be a good resource to ask. Like, but you know, it is a tough year. It's going to be kind of subjective.
And who knows what we're going to do the rest of the year as far as go back to online or whatever with COVID stuff. So it might not even do any good to have a calendar.
Yeah.
Sadly. But you got to have something.
So if there's nothing else on the calendar, I'll move on to just a few other report things. We can go back to the calendar. I'm not trying to move along too quickly, but I have some comments about COVID in here. There's been updates since this, so we can save that discussion for later in the agenda if the board would like. I think that would be wise. Other items, just some follow-up on the credit card interest that sparked some discussion last month at our meeting. And basically, two different scenarios were the cause of that interest. One, you know, waiting on receipts, either from a vendor like Amazon or maybe a teacher. And also, the other part of that would be just getting backed up with work. Like our, say a secretary's working on this, something like that, and they get interrupted because, hey, this is a priority over here. We really need this. The principal found out it's short 2 books or whatever the case. So some of the scenarios fall into that category, and the other ones would be like waiting on information such as invoices or receipts. But that kind of sums up the issue. I can get into more detail if you would like, but and I do have some backup here I can reference. If you give me a minute, if you have questions on that.
My only comment on that is, and it's same with the other points that were on that audit or whatever, it would be nice to see some, you know, almost something written down, kind of like a goal to make sure those don't happen again. Heard it said a lot of times that if it's not written down, it's just a hope.
Actually have.
Yeah.
For this.
So, yeah, well, I'm not sure this is what he wants, is this gives us like the limits on the cards and stuff like that.
Well, and we also address what we're doing to minimize that problem.
Yeah. So I do have some goals from the business office of what we want to do. So this, remember too, this report was from like 2 years ago. So I think some improvements have already happened, but I couldn't agree with you more. And a goal will definitely be to have that lower. And we'll know if the follow, because this was FY19. So we'll find out if FY20 is already lower because we're out of FY20 already. So I can get that for you, and then we'll hold these as goals from, you know, the personnel involved with this. But some of these things include, so as far as a number, less interest than what was, I think would be fair, and I bet we're already there. But these are download statements from WEX and Chase Bank online. WEX is currently online. Chase, so we're going to set up Chase online so we can get that quicker, streamline that a little bit. Is that correct? If I'm get anything mixed up, please stop me. Process WEX statement immediately before matching receipts to statements due to receipts not turned in a timely manner. Do not wait for receipts to pay WEX. Now this is one that caught my eye, and I stopped Steve because I don't paying without receipts. That can get your superintendent in trouble, and I'm not. I'm going to be very interested in watching that one, because if we start doing that without the backup, that could be tough on me.
But wouldn't the computer print out from what they said? Could that be classified as a receipt
Computer.
From an invoice?
Well,
from online and stuff like that?
yeah, the WEX, though, those are the,
Fuel cards.
the fuel cards, and that's where the bulk of those fees came
But
from.
if you're missing one from somebody because the wind was blowing or whatever and it took it down the road, couldn't you use that printout from the computer as a receipt, even if you mark next to it, was lost? But that should satisfy. It says where the money went to.
That it went to gas or something like
Yeah,
that.
they don't really give you it's a it's just a statement, and the employee is supposed to sign that receipt and all that.
And turn it in.
Yeah, sometimes,
How many Wex cards do we have out? Does it say on here? Maybe we could track those.
I bet you could come up with a form or something like that that the employee says, yep, I lost it.
We do have.
And then
Yeah.
you'd staple that to it, and I would sure think
Yeah,
that would satisfy state. And I mean, at least you have a money trail of where everything went. That's
yeah, we
what they're
do
looking
that.
for.
It's kind of a last resort. If you have too many of those, then you have problems because you have too many of them. But yeah, we do that.
Yeah, I think that's
When
good.
we just
I'm
can't
more
find them.
comfortable with that, and we definitely don't want to get lax with this.
Yeah,
And when credit card statements are received, have staff assist working on the statements as soon as possible to get them on the next voucher. So they're not, because the way the county's set up now, we can only process those like once a week. Is that right? On
Well, it's-
Thursdays, or
it-
that's
it-
what we do?
yeah, it's twice a week, but we can't go to the county and we used to be able to, we can't go there and just pick up our checks anymore. They won't let you in. They have to deliver them to a pickup point. And if we miss the mail pickup here in Joe City, then sometimes it's several days, anyway.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page, we want to eliminate those charges just as much as the board wants to see us do that. It may be impossible to eliminate all of them, but we're going to try to. Hopefully that will make the board feel a little bit better. So thank you for that. That was good and helpful, educational for me as well. School Facilities Board, now that bullet item that is on my report, that's 2 roof projects, but that is verbal only. We don't have anything in writing that those have been approved yet. As soon as they are, I need to get them approved by you guys. That's for additional work. Like when they do the elementary roof, they will redo the sheeting on all the upper level, and they're going to do sheeting on different aspects of the high school one as well. So that's what these 2, they just make us do it in different projects, but they have verbally committed to us. And we do have 3 quotes now for the asbestos, well, it's an asbestos assessment at the elementary. So that should be done soon. We just have to award that. And that's paid for as part of the elementary roof project. So that's in the works. We have 3 bids and a lowest bid on that. That looks good. Computer cards. If you have questions, Jason or the principals would probably be better to answer, but I can just quickly tell you that we have purchased we use a school credit card to do these on auction. These, and we need them. It's going to really help with organizing the cards and keeping them from giving the teachers extra work. 3 cards per campus. We got them for 1/10 of what they would have been new. So hopefully they look good. We haven't picked them up yet, though.
I think he's back.
I thought
No,
I
I'm
can't
still
remember where
working
you
on
got them. If you have questions, parent-teacher conferences were last month. You guys want any specifics on that? We did have some parents come in and visit. There's a section of my report that's basically high school items that Mr. Miller provided. So they're offset. Those are all high school things that I'm talking about there. Calendar options we reviewed. And then just on the call to the public, I think we try and get consistent, like from our training. It was suggested our training to be very consistent. And, probably my recommendation is at the beginning of the meeting, let anyone talk on an item, that's on the agenda. Not to say you can't ask if you have a question that you really want some input. I mean, it's your call, but I think it should be the exception. It should be rare. But as we know, it's typically not done during the thing. It's done prior to. Like we have meetings prior to this meeting where people interact and talk back and forth or write it on forms, whatever. But that's what that is. The public probably won't want to comment on most of these things if they're just a matter of routine business. A couple additions to my report. APS contacted me late last week about a plan to provide some additional funding to schools that are affected by the as a coal community closing of Cholla in this case. And what it would mean to Joseph City is tough to estimate. Now the total amount is $12 million, but that is shared between different organizations like MPC and Holbrook, Winslow. But for our district, what it would mean is probably 2 years of what they typically provide in taxes to us. So I don't know if you want to throw a number at that, Steve, won't. But it just gives you a rough idea. But they still need to get this through their corporation commission, and it may not pass. And even if it passes, we need to make sure the wording is right because we're taxed differently than MPC or these cities and these other entities that they're dealing with. What we're afraid that could happen is in lieu of the taxes we normally get as a revenue source, they could say, well, you just use your money from APS. So we want to make sure we're all on the same page that this is to help us transition if and when they decommission, right? So, like for example, this could be used just to throw out some vehicles to help us with vehicles, or it costs money to take a building down. And this could help us. Say the preschool building was decided by the governing board to demolish that. There's encapsulated asbestos in there, and it would cost us some money to do that. These funds would help with that, or maybe other projects that a bond or override would need to be used for, transition money. So I didn't print this out for everybody, but you may have seen this. I think it's available to the public. Just came out on Friday, so I didn't even know it was coming. I think that was pretty much what I had to add to my report, but I can update you on anything else that you may have questions that are going on at our schools.
Any questions?
I can try.
We are going to talk about COVID later. So, is there any names on there?
The AIA, they came out with I think you all know, but you can't start practices yesterday. Or is
For
that,
winter sports.
yeah, it says practices. Some people are interpreting a little.
I have some questions about that, but let's
Okay, yeah, that would be better probably
when
to
we
talk
get
about
to the COVID. Okay. Call to the public. Individuals who wish to address the board are requested to complete the appropriate form prior to the meeting and give the form to the board secretary. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to AR 38-/431. I think that's all I need to read, isn't it? Or do I need to read that whole?
Read down the whole thing.
Okay. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or scheduling the matter for future agenda. The board requests that all comments be limited to 5 minutes or less, that speakers refrain from the use of speech or language that is offensive or inappropriate pursuant to board policy KFA, and that speakers refrain from voicing complaints against school personnel or any person connected with the district as it may impact due process rights. Policies KE, KEB, and KED are provided by the board for disposition of legitimate complaints, including those involving individuals. Forms required for use of these policies can be obtained from the Joseph City School website. The president will limit discussion whenever he deems such action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. So, Bob Winter.
Yeah, I want to thank the administration, the board, et cetera, for the use of the elementary school for the voting that occurred last week. And that especially I should comment that it's been Kathy Mitchell who coordinates all the movement, the janitorial services. And she got with me and we lined everything out, and then she coordinated the whole thing. We really appreciate her efforts. And if you don't mind, I would like to have that passed on to her. And in that same vein, I noticed tonight on item 5B is Kathy Mitchell is requesting retirement. So I'm here to plead with the board to refuse that. She's a valuable asset, and I don't think we should lose her. So I say vote nay.
Thank you. Motion that we approve the consent agenda items 4 all the way through I, all the way through I. They're down to where 5 starts.
I'll second it.
Do we have any discussion, comments, anything we need to look at there? Okay, call for the vote. Myself, yes. Eldon?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton? Okay. I motion that we approve the new position for the off-season pool maintenance tech.
I'll second.
Okay,
Sometimes I'll set these up. If you don't want me to, just let me know. But that's in lieu of time cards, just to make it more convenient for the employee and to get our expectations just down in a work agreement.
Also, this is already financed in there and it's already being done. It's just,
Yeah. Trading it from an hourly to a,
salary.
yeah. So that, you know,
My only question is where's the money come from, but it's already being spent on it.
so it's in lieu of that. It's just a different way to do it.
and we've done similar things to this before, correct?
Yeah, we have.
Okay. You told me, but I don't remember what it was. It calculates out to something.
7 hours a week.
Okay. And what per hour? Basically the
Their
same as
current
they're paying.
rate, the
Okay.
manager's current rate.
So it's basically just $7 an hour, or 7 hours a week at whatever they were making before.
Yeah, what her rate is.
Okay.
This is just for when the pool is closed. When the pool's open, then it's back to pool manager, correct?
Yeah, timesheets, yeah. Same position.
And we talked about this too, if we have another COVID or whatever else and we're closed from March, it would is it set up just to do prorate it per week or month or whatever? So we don't need to recalculate or revote or anything on this, right? It's just set up that if the pool's closed and it's longer than the November to March,
We would probably go back to a hourly rate once, if this goes through, is it March 31st?
Yeah.
So if we continue to be closed after March 31st, we would just go back to a timesheet probably.
okay.
Because that's when this position ends.
It seems like to me it'd just be easier to prorate it for whatever it is and keep the same amount.
Yeah, there's a problem with that. The hours in the season vary. So
Okay.
it gets much more complex.
Okay. All right. Call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew? Eldon?
Yes.
Okay, myself, yes. I motion that we approve employee assignments in 5B for volunteers, employee,
Okay.
What?
Just the employee assignments as a motion.
yeah, let's just do 5B employee assignments, I think.
That's fine. Okay, so as soon as we get a second,
I'll second.
this is just to, this is our current pool manager. So it's just to
To fill it.
clarify that they're, yeah, it's moving from the hourly timesheet to something that's set for, because we can.
So call for the vote. Myself, yes. Eldon?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Okay. I motion that we approve the 2 resignations under 5B.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, so these, one was mentioned here already, and even though she's not at this meeting, I just want to express my gratitude. She's been at the district here and doing a great job for many years, long before I was around. So I appreciate her. And also the other resignation, we appreciate all our employees, but every time we have an aide or a teacher or an employee that resigned, it puts stress on our principals to fill these positions in the interim. So we're advertising and trying to get going for this, and I'm sure we'll have recommendations by the next board meeting, at least for the aide, if not the secretary position. We'll advertise as soon as this is approved.
Yes, grateful for the time she's put in. It's a long time and done a lot.
We're working on doing a little something. She couldn't make it tonight, but there's something in the works, our appreciation and stuff.
People have time to move on in life, so
Yeah.
I want to retire someday. Okay, call for the vote. Myself, yes. Eldon?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Okay. A motion that we approve the personnel appointments of the extra duty and the substitutes. Your 5C.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion that we need to have with that? I do have a question. Does that complete all of our junior high next season sports, winter sports, and all of our high school?
I've already asked them for you, and but I'll probably defer to them if I don't get this right. Not the winter, but the winter junior high sports don't start before the next board meeting, so we have time. And it's not like these guys just don't want to do it until next. It's a matter of getting applicants. Right.
No, I'm talking about the junior high season we're currently.
But that's
Just start.
wrestling, yeah.
Did they call, which ones is winter right after?
Junior high, they don't call it that.
They don't have winter, fall, and spring
Okay.
because they have 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So this is volleyball.
Whichever one we're.
Volleyball and
currently in.
That's
wrestling
wrestling.
is right now.
Okay,
We're good to go.
okay,
But they're not going.
yeah, but we're good to stop?
Good to not go.
Okay, all right. So call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Eldon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Action item, approve or look at a school board work session date and time?
Yeah, if you get a
Do we want-
second, I'll kind of talk about it.
I'll second it.
Okay, this was requested from a board member. I think it's another good idea about looking at some goals and making sure we're all in step with where the district needs to go with spending money and instructional programs, facilities, things like that. So if you want to add things to this.
So rewriting the ones we have, or
Well, when we had that guy come down from the trust, talked about having some, basically, a goal or some, not goals, or kind of like an outline of what the board's after, so that it makes it easier. Some examples, like I thought, and most of this is understood, but if it makes it easier for the administration to do their job, something like, we know we take students first, then we do staff, then we do finances, and then a community. So, you know, if we have that kind of as an outline for ourselves, anytime somebody wants to bring something from the board, if they know that's the steps we're gonna go through, yea or nay. I mean, we're not gonna say yes, a community if it doesn't meet all the rest of the stuff. And it makes it easier for people. I mean, I think it'd make it easier if somebody's wanting to do a project, the principals and stuff can say, well, the school board's gonna hammer you on these 4 items. If you
How
can
does
answer
it
those
benefit
positive.
kids? And then does it benefit staff? What does it cost to the facilities? Things like that. Yeah, like expectations. I think we could get behind that if the board's interested. And also what he also talked about was like board expectations, like your rules of engagement or whatever, like, you know, chain of command, if you wanted to throw that in a meeting. A work session is pretty much open to do what you want.
I'm open to that. Are we looking at an evening? What? Evenings work better for me
Well, it
typically.
depends on how in-depth you're wanting to get, because we've done, so I've been here almost 8 years now, and we did like the ones that he showed us where we did what our mission statement is basically, and then we did, I don't think they're really goals, but we
The
did
core values. Was
core values and stuff like that. That took us like 3 weeks.
right there. I got them posted in here, actually.
So,
Just don't
I'm not saying we ought
reference
to just take those and apply it here and then
so if you
be able to
think
push back
you
on.
think we can get it done with one time doing it, I'm good with that. Saying, boy, that was a long, hard
Well, I
road to
think
get
we
to
have-
what we got.
We have one to get, see where we're at, see
Okay.
what we need to do.
That's fine. And I'm fine with doing something like that.
I mean, some of the other stuff is trying to get our mindset preparing for the plant shutdown and how are we gonna start phasing ourselves into it before it surprises us. I mean, it shouldn't surprise us, but
Look at that
show up.
thing you talked about. There's things and
So now you're talking
transportation.
about 2 separate things, kind of, sort of, but whatever.
Yeah.
You got some dates?
There's not any
Anybody
on
got
here.
any? Andrew?
You may have to
Be
wait.
your idea what dates have you got?
You may almost have to wait till the first of the year even because we're getting crazy holiday, but whatever works.
I'll look at the calendar here. Yeah, December might be tough. First of the year is probably a good time to look at it, you know, from like the 5th, that's not a board meeting date. That's a Tuesday, but not a board meeting date.
Maybe let's come up with a date and time at the January board meeting.
I mean, in
then-
December? Or
I'm
January?
thinking the January board meeting, because then we're through all of that and we're back.
Well, your board meeting in January would be the 12th,
Yeah. Whatever's fine.
so.
Maybe set a date for the week after or something at our January meeting.
We can do a tentative one now and correct it if it comes
At the
December.
December meeting.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
You want to set a tentative one now and just, we'll plan on it? So there's something down? Be nice to
Do you
take
want to
out.
do it on a Friday so that we have a little more time than just in the evening, or what are you looking at?
Well, it doesn't take that much time. I mean, if we have a little bit of time to
Get ready.
coordinate a little bit and throw some ideas out, filtered through the superintendents, and then we can't talk to each other if we're not in here.
Right.
You know, but some of that, and we could get some of that kind of, almost like an outline figured out by January, then we should be able to roll through some of that a little better. Is what I would envision.
I think that's a good idea.
That would give us plenty of time to kind of shoot back some comments through the superintendent, some ideas, and then firm something up.
So,
January 19th?
What day of the week is that?
That's a Tuesday.
those are Tuesdays.
Say just pick one and go with it. I'll say do the 19th. We can change it still.
You can go the 5th. The 5th is the Tuesday before.
Go the 5th. Everybody bring their leftover Christmas goodies.
There you go. Potluck on the 5th. Get rid of all your sugar cookies. We just pass them around.
So we want to look at the 5th? Okay,
I'd say the 5th or the 8th, depending on.
okay.
The 8th is, I mean, if you pick a day where we have enrichment, you can appreciate Dayton and Andrew doing a walk around with us at that breakfast that you guys did. It was awesome. And I think that the teachers, staff appreciated seeing you guys check things out there, but we didn't do it here at the elementary. So if you do a Friday, well, you can do it.
Your Friday in January that you have enrichment is the 29th.
You don't have to do it when they're there too. It could be, a Friday that's just open, whatever.
I think let's set it for the 18th or whatever, and then get some ideas, push back and forth and see where we are.
18th is a holiday.
Yeah. So your motion is the 19th?
The 19th.
The Tuesday.
All right, see if you can get a second and then get the vote.
I'll second.
Okay, so let's,
What time? Gotta have a time.
I think you said 6, was that?
yeah, 6 is,
Intent.
so the 19th at 6. Okay. As a tentative time. Can we vote on that because it was an action item?
Yeah.
Okay. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Eldon?
He made the motion.
Myself, yes. And then we have a couple of discussion item on the COVID. I'm interested to know where we are
You
sports.
have to make a motion to open up discussion on
Okay.
COVID-19.
I motion that we open up the discussion to discuss COVID-19.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just give a brief update where we're at and then let you guys ask questions before I go on, because I don't want to overdo this any more than necessary. We feel like the cases are increasing here regardless of the information we're getting back from the county. So we do have, as we speak, confirmed 3 student cases and 1 employee case. That's been confirmed. Probably much more than that, but those are the actual, like, got tested and reported. It seems to be that students have symptoms just for a little bit of time. It could be like over a weekend even, and maybe they don't even know it's COVID. However, with the adults, the symptoms seem to last longer from what I'm hearing. I do have concern that as it looks like it's increasing everywhere, our staff could get hit because we have policies when they have symptoms that are COVID-like or actual COVID. There's so many days you got to stay away from the campus because of CDC guidelines and Arizona Department of Health. So one of my main concerns is, how we're going to be able to staff programs and classrooms if we're making everybody stay away. So that's a major concern on my mind, and spreading it and the impact of the spread. But other than that, I'll take questions or listen to your comments now, if you have any.
And where are we this week? We're not having junior high sports. Are they going to start again next week, or is that still?
I'll take it, and then not to interrupt. You can talk as soon as the AIA, and they will come out on Thursday with new metrics, and they go by that. So if the metrics in our county permits us to do the sports, we'll do them. No questions asked, and that will apply to the junior high.
Okay.
We're just trying to apply the rule to the junior high and high school.
Okay.
Because that,
I was just curious if they were.
Is the White Mountain League going along with that? Because the White Mountain League doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the
I've been told that they are. Our White Mountain League athletic director might have gone to meetings. I know what the superintendents are saying because I've been in contact with them. So it's been said that the arrangement is everybody's on the same page. It follows the AIA. I mean, why wouldn't it? I don't know. You guys go ahead. I'll be quiet and let you talk.
I believe that's what was said at the start of the season. I don't know if you know of any others that are following those guidelines?
Well, I can share a couple things. as far as the White Mountain Lake's concerned, we're actually having discussions about that now because a lot of our discussions happened before the latest metrics for winter sports came out, since our wrestling and volleyball season started before those metrics came out. We're having that discussion now via email. Several districts are choosing to shut down as we have until they have better numbers. There are a couple districts that are forging ahead full speed, but they are in the minority. Most of them are taking the same measured approach that our administration is, and I feel like we're in pretty good concert with them as far as being being cautious and being careful. And many of them are wanting to stick with the AIA guidelines.
Okay.
But sports aren't required to have a school.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's a big part of it, but when we get down to the students' health, teachers' health, not just as far as COVID's concerned, but also we got to make sure we consider emotional and all that. Because I mean, it was on the news the other day. They got down in the state, they've got some little organization going together, actually trying to encourage schools to stay together because of the suicide rates and stuff like that of teenagers. Yeah. That are real bad. And quite frankly, as rude as it may sound, I'd much rather hear some kids got COVID than some kids battling with depression.
And that is something that's happening.
So a lot of things don't make any sense to me with this COVID thing, but what, as far as the AIA goes, because this is, I mean, they're still playing football, a lot of schools, right? Because football season's still going, so they got the playoffs going and they're still playing sports, but they're not letting winter sports start, which makes no sense to me.
I heard a lot more.
What is their reasoning on that?
We actually met with the Apache Navajo County Health Department today and athletic directors in the area, and with the other meetings I've been in recently. The metrics that we're looking at right now is when do we start the AIA calendar for the season of sport. And so the AIA has to say, you may begin and your calendar starts. So right now, since wrestling in Navajo County and basketball in Navajo County haven't met metrics to start, then we are in off-season rules that's governed by the district. Once you get approval to start, that metric hurdle has been cleared, and you're good to move forward. So since football, cross country, and volleyball all met their metrics at the beginning of the year, their season of sport is being allowed to finish. It is being allowed to carry through and finish. They are measuring individual cases, so.
But doesn't mean we can't stop them.
Still doesn't make sense.
Right.
So, because it's the same kids, it just transfer uniforms for the most part.
Well, in the smaller schools.
Yeah.
And then last spring, they just killed all the sports right in the middle.
So, in order for and a lot of this has to do with the Sports Medicine Advisory Committee, who's helping guide the AIA through this, and so they feel like in order to start the season and say, okay, you're good to start and be on the AIA calendar and fall under AIA regulation, you need to meet these metrics to start your season, your calendar. And then the district has the ability to say, and there are school districts right now who have met the metrics and are choosing not to participate yet, not start practices yet, because they don't feel like it's right for their district to start yet, even though they've got the green light from the AIA and their season of sport calendar has begun. So I think there again, as well as local governance things where districts have the ability to decide what's right for their community and then move on that. And I think I feel fairly confident that we're being, sensitive to the community and the needs of the community. So it doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes, but when you're the AIA and you're also worried about lawsuits and things like that, to be able to say that they met the metrics of our Sports Medicine Advisory Committee to start. Now that we've started, we're going to play it by ear. I think it's maybe a little bit of legalese. But
Yeah.
Is the county looking at shutting schools down?
Yeah, I received I don't know if they have the authority to do it without us. They've never said that quite that frankly, so I don't think they can, but there was there was a message about that, yeah. That
If you look it up and go through the county and the state stuff and read it, the way it's all written is they're leaving it up to the local educational agencies. So basically the school boards to decide if you can have school.
I think they could be looking at the fact it would be hard for us as a governing board or district to stay open if the county's telling us to shut down, that it's not safe to have school. It would put a little bit of pressure.
Are they looking at doing that?
I don't know. They said come this Thursday. The message said if this Thursday the metrics remain like they are or got worse, something would be coming about a recommendation for not canceling school, but, moving from in-person school or something like that.
Is there any other questions or anything we need to discuss about the COVID thing?
I'd be curious to know, and I don't know how you'd figure it out, what the impact, almost like a survey, what the teachers' attitude is towards it. Because they're the ones in the trenches. And I'm not saying you need it right now, just maybe something to.
We did a survey at the start of the school year, and it was overwhelmingly in favor of going back. I don't know what it would be currently, but it was like 90+%.
That's a good question. And so he does have some data on that. I would say the ones that are currently sick probably are not.
Well,
They may have changed their mind, but once they get over it, they'll be fine.
Once you're over
They're
it,
immune.
you get a
Iron Man then.
Well, it's like I've said before when talking with Brian, when I was a teacher, it doesn't matter what's going through, you're getting it. You're gonna get every little disease that every kid brings into your school. So, and I don't know, we've actually, I think, probably improved it for our teachers at this point as far as, it seems to me kids are doing better at staying home if they're not feeling well.
They are.
So that probably helps in the long run.
We've had, as far as a normal year, it seems like less that are out due to illness, in fact.
Yeah. So.
One thing I'd like to throw out here, I do have a concern that, the kids seem to be, even the ones that they have COVID-like symptoms, are recovering pretty quick. But we have these rules where, if they have been exposed or their household is exposed, they have COVID-like symptoms and we think it's COVID, how many days they have to stay out, right? 5 days, 3 days, 14 days. When this hits our staff, if it gets any worse, I have concerns about us being able to, staff our classrooms and our programs and all that. I think it's worth discussing or your consideration to do not a break. It's Mr. Hutchins had a term like a health reset, where we could take a couple of weeks and have a hiatus for in-person learning and just do it all online. It could be over Thanksgiving week, and then what that would do is kind of reset the quarantine, and everybody, it could protect our staff, because if we have to send half of them home, we just don't have the subs to manage this. I don't know what our schools will look like if we have to put them all in the gym. Have Mr. Hutchins give a motivation talk for half a day.
Don't go get COVID then. Volunteer for it.
So it's worth talking about, if we did a health reset, like a 2-week fall break, we could make it where the kids still have to do online learning. And if we did it, just for as an example, starting Monday, it would only be 6 instructional days, 4 next week, and then 2 on Thanksgiving break. So there's some benefit to that that I think you should consider.
But it only works if you don't have a big hot Thanksgiving party.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the funny part about this. You can do whatever you want, but you go to the store, you go anywhere. You really can't isolate it to one thing and one person. It is what it is.
Is I've heard that some of the schools have done that 2-week thing or something and then come back. Is it effective? I don't know that much about it, but it seems like I get sick right after the whatever else, then I get sick.
I don't know, but it's hard to tell what's effective because nothing's accurate on the report. People aren't reporting this.
Yeah.
And even if, that's just what it is. And there's false negatives, false positives, all those factors. So it's tough to say if something's, effective. So
I would just hate to say, yeah, let's do that. Let's start. And we take our week and then we take Thanksgiving and then we're ready to go back. But that's when the county or the state or whatever says, just like after spring break, okay, we're done. And then we missed 2 weeks plus that. I mean, that is something that could happen. There's a good possibility we go to Thanksgiving break and during Thanksgiving break, just like spring break last year, we're done.
I personally think we'll have the ability as a board to say, no, we're not done.
Yeah.
And
I think if we do anything drastic, we ought to get the community's input. Because, I mean, we may get a whole different opinion in one way or the other.
At least our
we
community
have
of
a-
students and parents and teachers.
we have a built-in 2-week break coming up in December.
Just tell them to hold off. Have a Merry Christmas.
Until December.
COVID doesn't wait.
Well, I
I think
mean,
it's going through right now, quite frankly, but
so
whatever.
we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 5 weeks to 2 weeks off. So we're thinking that it's going to hit us hard enough in the next 5 weeks that we can't staff our schools. I mean, that's what we're feeling like.
You want all of our opinions?
What do we have?
Probably be-
Yeah.
A quarter?
And we have 2 or 3 staff with COVID-like symptoms who, when their test results come back, it could affect them. So that's a total of, 4 employees that are pretty much instructional employees. So you're asking me to, guess it's something I don't have support for. It's tough. Let the principals maybe tell you. I don't.
What do you guys think?
I think we're just looking at trying to make a plan to try to, we can't play the what if game. We'll be here another 3-hour meeting.
Right.
So, but what we're thinking and looking at the reports that Mr. Fields has, we're thinking that if we take a break and people behave themselves, as I heard the governor say, I watched this little video this afternoon, behave themselves and do what they're asking them to do, it would perhaps give us a better chance of letting that sickness curve go down here in the district, and then come back and hit it for 3 weeks hard, and then take another break, hopefully it'll go down again, and then come back in January, and hopefully it'll calm itself and stay down.
Oh, not to interrupt, but they did come out with some kind of vaccine today. It hasn't been approved, but it was.
90% success rate.
Yeah. Go ahead, you guys.
I don't know if I have anything to add. It's hard to play that guessing game, but the threat is real, I guess, if we have enough staff out covering the classes. But once again, it's a guessing game.
Well, so beyond the guessing game, so let's look straight at our kids. Because that's supposed to be number one, what we're doing with our kids.
They're not. They've told me. I don't listen. The kids are fine. I think.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about I'm talking about grades of kids back
Emotional.
for 2 weeks.
And
Are we gonna hit our kids hard with their grades? Because I know it was hard on a lot of kids grade wise, and it's still sticking with some of them
As I've mentioned.
from having the
before,
early 2 months.
The difficulty is, I don't think people understand and realize the motivation side of education and the teacher's role. And so.
I do.
Yeah, well, unless you've been there,
Yeah.
And So yeah, it is trickier when it's online. And we didn't give as much work when we were online, but there were kids that definitely struggled. And you know, I understand the situation. You know, if a kid doesn't enjoy school and parents are both working, he's going to have to be motivated on his own, and that's not super likely. So that would be the tricky part. So we do tend to, you know, winter's the time for illness in general, and I mean, Danny would probably agree. There's times we have 20+ kids out for the flu, and it just kind of spreads quickly. I don't know COVID. We've never had a winter of COVID, so I couldn't tell you, but I mean, I guess that would be the risk.
I think maybe what we need to look at is if we're getting below this number of, you know, this many teachers or staff or whatever, then we need to really look at something and what are we going to do? I think that's something maybe a way to look at it.
I don't want to wait necessarily until we're forced to
Yeah.
emergency close down, but we could. I mean, I guess, you know, it's an option.
What's the difference between an emergency close down and a planned close down?
That's a good question. Let me try and answer. So a planned close down, our staff could prepare for that. Our students and parents would know, you know, starting say on Monday or a week from next, you know, whatever it is, that this is coming. So a little time to prepare and get organized, things like that. That's about the only advantage, rather than showing up to school and everybody has to report to the gym.
Versus an emergency one is I get 3 teachers call me on Friday, he gets 3 teachers call me on Friday, and we're telling them they gotta stay home for 10 days, and now.
Well, then we just
Then I
take
get
the
2
2 weeks
more,
then.
then I get 2 more on Sunday, and then it's like we have no subs, you'll have enough aides to cover all that. That's an emergency. We
Maybe-
can't operate.
Maybe that's something we do need to be proactive with in having the teachers get with the students. Hey, if this happens, we're going to need to take these and this is the way we're going to go. Maybe we need to get something on our website. Hey, with the things looking the way they are, we might need to, and this is the way so there is some parents being responsible and knowing and can take some preparation.
And the principals haven't really pushed on this. This is all me. They think as of right now, they can pretty much staff it, I think. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're concerned, but they haven't like said, Mr. Fields, what are we going to do? So I'm just trying to get ahead of this so we're organized and prepared, because we're going to try and hold fast to if they have the symptoms, at the end of those symptoms, 5 days until they come back. That could really impact the quality of education we're giving.
It could. But I do think we need to have something in place, some steps of what we're going to do so we can get there.
Google Classroom is the kind of the approved platform. That's where all assignments should be given and returned. Is that right?
Mhm.
So, and they did that at the beginning of the year. So I think that transition could be somewhat smooth if they do the work. And it's tough. It'll be tough though.
But I do think if we will talk to the kids now, soon, and explain this is where we're going. If it does go, we're going to have to go back to online or whatever they want to call it. And
we don't want them to promote the illness because they won't want to be.
Yeah.
We got to be smart and strategic, but I got you. I think I'm following everything. So,
and that I'm not,
preparation.
I would rather not shut down for 2 weeks and then come back. I would rather keep going if we can, but if we have to, then we need to be prepared for that. I completely agree.
I don't know, my personal feelings is I would rather not shut down either, unless it's an absolute necessity.
It's not quite a shutdown, but I got you. It's more like a health reset.
Call it what you will, they're not coming to school.
Okay. what's going,
So,
oh, other comments?
man, I don't know.
It's definitely not an easy decision. I mean, one way or the other, and only dealing with half of our staff, I bet we can't even get subs if a quarter of our staff is out. We're not gonna,
Less than that, yeah.
We only have, what, 4 subs, Eric?
Well, I think we're up
Maybe
to
5.
5 or 6 right now. We have one more that's close.
These guys have been, and I know this, they've been covering classes.
Mhm.
And then we got resignations, one that didn't get on the agenda because it was turned in later, but you can see resignations left and right. They're covering things that should be assigned to staff, so I feel for them, and that's why I'm thinking about it, really.
Yeah.
Seeing what-
and I understand that, and I think there could be a need for it. I don't like the idea, that's for sure, but
Have we had any more kids request online? You know, like, has it come out in the community and now we have more kids, more families that are worried about it, and so their kids are going back to online?
I'm sure you all received the first letter we sent out about, we had a potential case. After that, I think we had one family, I think there's 1 or 2 kids in the family that requested to be online, but that's the only one I know of.
I've had a couple requests to be online since all that, but it had nothing to do with that. It had to do more with family situations and other things that they wanted to take advantage of distance learning. I'm not aware of anyone going to distance learning elementary school because of the letters that have been sent out. I haven't even had one phone call about the
I shouldn't
letters.
say it's because of the letters. It's because of, they were worried about COVID
Yeah,
in
the
the
virus.
school.
so it sounds like our parents are okay with their kids still going to school in this situation. But I do understand we do have a concern for
our
staff. And we should care about our staff.
And I think up until the last maybe couple weeks, our
We do care about it.
staff's been pretty good as far as health. I haven't
Said we do and we should.
been pretty healthy.
I got a message on my phone 1 hour before this meeting of a teacher. I think has it, and the county was letting me know. So you never know, it could hit quick, that's all I'm saying.
Good.
Any other comments from the board about that? Or are we ready to move to the next one? Go ahead.
I think everybody realizes for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been advocating to try to find a future plan, put a 5-10-year plan, what we're going to do with the building in case. What happens when APS leaves? At what point do we need to get a bond, or if we ever need to? And in that vein, I would like to suggest that at the meeting on January 19th, that the board keep a consideration or at least an open mind to the use of committees. I think that the community can offer a lot. This is a good chance for the community to have a lot of input.
Yeah, that might be something to look at with this COVID thing too. If, maybe put it out there if you're interested in.
Serving on a COVID-19 committee.
Yeah.
So we,
How are we doing with online? We approved a position for an online teacher, but then we didn't ever get an online teacher. So are we doing okay there? Are we still looking for an online teacher? What are we doing there?
No, we're not. At that point, we had already started to come back to
Right.
school, so it wasn't as necessary in that regards. Teachers have been spending extra time, but you approved them to be paid for those.
Is that going well? Are they feeling like they're keeping up or are they getting burned out?
It's a struggle. I've had just today, actually, a teacher talk about how, how difficult it is to do online and in person at the same time. That's a struggle. But very grateful for our staff. They're awesome. I'm sure Danny would say the same thing about the elementary. The teachers are doing awesome. No complaints, and they're working hard and doing an excellent
They're
job.
doing a ton.
A lot of extra work, a lot of extra stress, and just the normal teaching a class and then having to, kind of work the TV and, the
Clean
video
the
and
desk
going back and forth. And then, it's a struggle that they're learning new things. And
Eventually, it won't be a new thing anymore. It'll be old hat.
It'll be the new.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not the new thing, but it has been valuable in some respects. They're very capable of technology now overall, and they've really put in the time to learn it, so.
Are we good with COVID?
What do you mean?
Are we done?
Do we approve COVID? No. Is there anything we can do about it? No.
Are we gonna live through it?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, that we put an awful lot on the superintendent's plate, and he always comes through. The use of a committee also has another advantage. There are certain things that as a city board, that you guys cannot advocate, and the principal superintendent cannot advocate, but a committee can. We can go into it like I did with the letters for the override, things that I could do that you guys can't. So I think that's a point that we need to realize with appointing committees.
I think that might be a good idea to look at a committee with this and get some input if people are wanting some input. It kind of seems to me that nobody in the community is trying to get back to online school and not go to school.
Well, the ones we have online are dead set online.
Yeah, but I mean, a push to close or whatever, so. Okay, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in my opinion, if it's already hit us, it may already hit us, just saying. So I think we should see if we can just make it to Christmas and see if we can get there. But that's just my personal opinion.
Just make sure you test Santa Claus.
I think as we get closer and it does look like we need to, taking that week of Thanksgiving might do something, and it's 2 days, but it makes 7 or 8 or 9.
Well, take us, how many snow days do we have?
0.
We don't.
Well, then take them.
It anymore. They're supposed to be.
COVID days.
Yeah, they're supposed to be built in as part of our cushion, and we don't have those.
I think we have one. I don't know if it meets the minutes, but as far as the number of days, 144,
Yeah.
and we do 146,
Yes.
but we might not make the minutes. So
But if we had to add a day or two at the end of the year, what would be, I mean, that's why the community
We
opinion,
have 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 extra days.
that's why the community opinion would be valuable, because they may say, you know what? If we're gonna not go, then let's just relax, let the teachers relax and let everybody recoup. I mean, what good does it do to take the days off and then stress them out?
We have 2 days.
We have 2 days, and if we did that week of Thanksgiving, it
Just
would
took
be
the Monday, Tuesday
Friday,
of
Saturday,
Thanksgiving, give 'em
Sunday,
a
Monday,
week.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
There's a group of kids in high school, the Navit students, who don't meet they barely meet with our schedule, the seat requirement, the minutes. So we would lose funding.
But if we did that for COVID reasons, it doesn't matter. There's not a exception for that.
How many students are we talking about?
We have close to 15, 12, 13, 14. But Dan left.
We'd
you
lose
would know.
15 students.
Not completely, but yeah, you wouldn't get full funding for all of them.
Is there a way we could do something that they could still count that?
Probably lose funding on more than 15, because we're, like you said, we meet for the days, not for the minutes. You gotta meet for both of them,
Yeah.
I think. And I don't think we had that much room.
But I mean, we were talking about closing for 2 weeks. Including
As long as we have an online program
Yeah.
in place.
That's what I'm saying. Not just cancel those days, give them a packet to do, give them whatever, so that have them clock in like they were.
So you're saying just do Monday and Tuesday online of Thanksgiving week?
And that's an idea that would give us a whole week.
10 days.
That's
That's quite a length of time
less
for
hit on
taking
the
2
grade.
days
How
of
much do
school.
the teachers do on Monday and Tuesday of that Thanksgiving week?
They do stuff. I normally hear people say it's just a joke week, but I've been in
They'll still do
classrooms and it's, yeah.
It was turkeys made
Well,
out.
there's things that are happening, and I'm not saying let's take it off because it's not, but I do think it's 2 days that count for 10 days.
I would be okay with something like that too, because you're right, it's 2 days counting for 10 days, and that's a lot less of a hit on our kids' grades. It's only 2 days worth of grades that they need to get in versus.
And if they went to, the Thursday they got out before that, if they already had basically what they needed to do, it would be easy for them, to do, that they'd be prepared for it. They're already prepared for online.
They still have to sign in though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would just have to sign in and we
click in.
could give assignments over Google Classroom. They all know it. It's not.
Somebody might have COVID that week. So why don't we wait? I mean, I think it's an option, but maybe let's look at it next week and see what this.
Well, I'm not saying let's for sure do it. I'm just saying if we're
I'm
getting there
just
and it
saying,
looks
if it looks like
let's-
you're gonna take a hit with staff, that would be one of the easiest ways to.
But it only does good if everybody stays at their home and be good little
Yeah,
ones.
which
And wears their mask and all these other variables that don't count.
Well, it's a different, the reason they pound on schools is because you got a lot of kids that are all together and mixing all day long. And, you go into a family get together with 30 people is a lot different than 250 kids in a school.
But
Stay long.
Joe says the same 30 people that are in the class.
Once again, we're more concerned about our staff.
Right, no, I'm just saying that the opportunity to spread.
And it does give the staff the opportunity to be responsible and take care of themselves. Kids are still going to be kids, but the adults can do what they need to do.
The adults are still gonna act like kids.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a short, thing that we can do. If we're getting close and it looks like we need to do something, I say let's do that and try to help with that situation.
Sounds good.
So, financial summary,
Information. Yeah.
informational items.
Yeah. So
It's on the backup. Do we need to do anything with this or?
It used to be on my report, and since we
Wanted to ask questions and stuff, you could make a motion to open up the financial information summary for
discussion.
discussion, but that's what you would have to do, is do that, open it up for discussion. So does somebody want to make a motion to open that?
Do
up
we
for
need to open it
discussion,
up
or-
for discussion, or are we good?
If you want to talk about it a little bit, it's basically just a summary of the accounts. I can explain them if you want.
So do we need to, or can we move on?
Why don't you open it up, if they're willing to, and I'll take them through it.
Okay. I motion that we open up for discussion the financial summary.
I'll second.
Okay, so what we got here, the account number on the far left of that chart, and then what was budgeted in that area. It's also the fund title. What's budgeted, our total spent, expenses for that year, the balance and encumbrance is like what's planning to be, or in the process of being spent. And then the budget at the last column. So like maintenance and operation is the big one. That's where salaries are. If you see these things like Title I, that's just a code name or whatever for a federal program that helps students who aren't in proficiency at a grade level in reading or math. That fund is specifically for them. Title II is training for teachers in core subject areas. So only some things qualify for that. Some tutoring does. But as we go down, IDEA is an acronym for special education. Johnson O'Malley is related to a Native American account that the board oversees with the JOM committee. But I could go on and on through here as you like, or maybe you have questions or whatever.
I don't have any questions. Okay. Do we have any requests for future agenda items? I motion that do we need to approve the upcoming agenda?
If you go to the next one, yeah, you do.
Okay. Or 8C? Because we need to approve all of those because somebody might, if we go to that. So I motion that we approve the upcoming meetings, those three, the next board meeting of December 8th, and then the ASBA conferences.
Oh, second it.
Call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Eldon?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
That next board meeting, we got to do the swearing in of the new board members.
In December?
Yeah, we could just have a current board member swear them in, or if you guys want me to request the county superintendent to be here, I can do that. But I thought it'd be just as easy to have a current member swear the new members in. Not new members, you guys are sitting.
I'm open to just one of us doing it.
Works for me.
Formality that we.
Andrew?
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
The ASBA is virtual again, right? Yes.
So yes.
Do they record that so you can watch it later? You don't have to do it on the spot, do you?
Well, the PowerPoints.
You have to register before they give you access, but yeah, you can. Now, I don't know whether the PowerPoints for sure and the handouts now, whether they'll have all the lecture or the presentation.
I don't know if it's all recorded or not. Because I did the law one, and I sat through the law one.
Yeah.
They never said anything about being able to go back.
And with all the technology in the world, the school board association can't figure it out.
I think,
The
no, I
live
think we
ones,
do
they
have.
do those.
I went into it for something to look up something.
Okay.
The live ones, the PowerPoints and all of that stuff they put online so you can go back and refer to it later. I understand. I haven't.
There was one year, it was like a year after a conference, and I knew they had a presentation on a 4-day week, and I couldn't find it, and I called them, and they gave me access to it in that case, so that was nice to have that. So
Okay, cool.
I would, if you're interested, please do sign up. I think it's a lot of information that can help us.
So who do we tell if we were interested to get signed up for that?
It says Kathy.
Is it still Kathy?
If you'll tell me, I'll pass that on to her.
Sign me up.
Okay.
I obviously don't have to do that orientation.
For both.
No, I don't need to do the orientation.
Okay.
I think I've been orientated over the last 8 years.
Come on, you veteran.
I'll look at it and get back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it as long as we don't have to be there on the spot.
I don't believe so, it's virtual. So, yeah, Mr. Bushman, if he'll do it, that'd be great.
I mean, because that'll just excite my whole family to turn that on at night.
It will.
Kids to go to bed, pop it on.
I move that we call for an adjournment, the time being 7:34.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Dayton?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Eldon?
Yep.
Okay. Is there things we need to sign?
Yeah, just give me one second. Here.
Double check. An SFP.
Go home.
These are the vouchers.
Vouchers. Start signing.
And I have some things for just your question.
Oh, yes. Get my glasses off if I can read.
We had 1,300.
Where do you want that pile?
Show up to vote out of 1,500.
Wow.
And the bad news is, I'm working with the election office now. We have 5,000 registered voters in Joe City.
Oh.
And I added up the graveyard. That doesn't even help.
Brian, do you want the ASBA conferences on the website, on the calendar?
Yeah, why not? Like the district calendar.
Yeah.
But I point
Missing something right here.